last month.
Ah, here we go. Yes, so this is what everybody was talking about earlier. Everybody was talking about this earlier. Yes, this is a video from Rainbolt. And the title of the video is Grok is Stupid. Grok is stupid. So here we go. This is, of course, a post from Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura on Twitter. I posted this at it was 7:37, I guess, in Europe. I assume Rainbolt's in Europe, which would have been like 1:37 Eastern, I think, maybe 1:37 p.m. But yes, this picture, of course, was when I was on the road to get to Prince Edward Island. Yes, so for anybody who's wondering, everybody's like, oh, you're worth $50 million, all these other things. You know, one of the things that I really enjoyed about my road to the candidates, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a story. But one of the things that I really loved about the road to the candidates was that it was sort of like going back in time. It was very, very nostalgic. I remember when I was this young kid playing a lot of tournaments throughout the United States. Like my parents would drive me. We'd go to like places like North Carolina. We would drive to places like Chicago. You know, we'd drive all over the country, drive to Florida, etc., and so forth. And so it's very kind of like therapeutic to play these terms, because this tournament that happened in Prince Edward Island, this of course was the Maritime Open, which was held in Charlotte. Was it Charlottetown? I think is where it was held. No, summertime. It's held in summertime. And in order to get to this tournament, Chris and I went together. We had to fly to Nova Scotia, the airport in Halifax, and then we had to rent a car, and the drive from Halifax all the way to is it summertime? I think it was summertime. Was basically like 4 hours. So we we fly in, we rent, or Summerside, sorry, not summertime, Summerside. We rent a car, and we drove 4 hours to get to the tournament. And that, my friends, is like one of the great joys of playing chess as a kid, because you get to drive, your parents drive, you get to see nature, you get to see all these different places, and it's great. So let's keep going. Here we go.
Hikaru tweeted this. Now, where in the world am I? And of course, I was tagged a ton, but this specific tag stuck out. At Grok. Can you do this better than at Rainbolt? Where Grok responded, challenge accepted. And then he proceeded to say where he thought it was, followed with, better than Rainbolt? You decide. I decided. Alright, just to start the video off, Grok is actually stupid. I'm just kidding. It's not that bad of a guess. Grok said, the red iron-rich soil flat fields, fall foliage, and utility poles scream Prince Edward Island, Canada. Specifically, a rural gravel road like Route 107 near Kensington, heading east. Okay, so Grok isn't entirely wrong. When I immediately look at this photo, it doesn't really take the best GSR player ever to recognize that this is obviously PEI. It's obviously Canada. We have red soil, which is like super, super common in PEI. And we also have grass that is mowed on the side of the road right here, which is actually extremely common all throughout PEI, is like the mowed side of the grass on the road. So immediately when I was
wait, I learned something new. I didn't know this. Like, you say this is common. I did not actually think this was like common at all. Is it common that the grass is mowed like this? You guys tell me. I didn't think this was like common. Also, I realized the video's off a little bit, so let me adjust it just a touch. No, it's actually it's correct. It's correct. What am I doing? It's correct. But I did not. I mean that, like, when he says mode, I'm just curious why he knows. Like, I wish he would explain that a little bit more, like why he knows, like what that means exactly. Because like not that I know anything, but grass being mowed on both sides of the road, that sounds like something that should be common everywhere. That doesn't sound like something that like should be specific to Prince Edward Island. So I kind of wish, maybe he'll explain it, but I kind of wish he would explain why that is, because that's not something that actually I would ever think of. But let's keep going.
Okay, PEI, that's pretty easy enough. But the thing about Grok's answer is that he said a rural gravel road like Route 107 near Kensington. And if we go to
I assume Route 107 is a paved road, right?
Heading east,
it's a paved road, I bet.
What do we see?
It's a paved road, right?
Not a gravel road. And so once I saw...
Oh my god, how did I know that? I somehow I knew that. It's like you say Route 107, like that's a real, yeah, man, I called that. I had a feeling it was going to be like that. It's like, of course it's not a gravel road. It's a literally a paved road. What a shock. That's incredibly bad from Grok. That's so bad.
Grok was wrong. I was like, okay, let me go ahead and just like ratio Grok real quick, because why not? Okay, so yes, I obviously knew this was PEI. but that's not enough. And in order to like fully ratio grok, I had to find the exact road. So I'm gonna walk you through the exact process.
Okay,
on how
here
to
we
find
go.
This exact dirt road in PEI. So the first thing I did was I looked at the context of Hikaru, and what we knew from his profile was that the previous hours of him posting this, he actually posted in the Vancouver airport.
Correct.
Just about 7 hours before that
Correct.
photo was taken in
Correct.
PEI, or at least it was uploaded. And
Yes.
so, obviously, as someone that unfortunately knows Vancouver quite well,
What?
I did recognize the Vancouver airport.
Whoa. What does he mean unfortunate? As someone who unfortunately knows Vancouver very well, somebody in chat has to tell me that. Like, what does he mean unfortunately? Vancouver is one of the best cities in the world. Why does he say unfortunately? What? Whoa. I mean, I know we're on a delay here very slightly, but what? Like, what? Why does he say unfortunately? Vancouver is like one of the greatest cities in the world. What is he doing? Why is Vancouver catching a stray? What? That's not right. That's not cool at all.
And then I thought, okay, in order from Hikaru to get from Vancouver to PEI,
Yes.
how could he get there?
Yes.
And so I looked at the flight connections map.
Yep.
He was at the Vancouver airport and needed to get to PEI. So the question
Yes.
is, how would he get from Vancouver to PEI? And for me, the most obvious answer, which I don't know if actually is correct, but what made most sense to me when trying to find this, is that he actually flew to Halifax and then drove up north,
Yes.
which is about a 2-hour drive to PEI. There is a world where he had a connecting flight to like a more regional airport, I think like Quebec or somewhere that maybe flies
There
into...
is an airport in, I think, Charlottetown. I think you can fly to like Quebec or Montreal or one of these places, and then there is Action Airport, I believe, in Prince Edward Island. So that is the alternative possibility, but I think the price was like incredibly expensive.
Charlottetown, but I think the most likely answer was going from Vancouver to Halifax and driving up. And at the time of trying to find this wasn't actually confirmed, but people did speculate on Reddit
Yes.
and things like that Hikaru was participating in this chess tournament in Summerside, PEI.
Yes.
Which if you look at a
Correct.
map, if he was driving from Halifax up to Summerside, I thought that made sense. Again, you can't confirm this 100%, but
He's
based
correct,
off
of
of like
course.
what we had available, knowing that he was going to be playing in a chess tournament that weekend, we're assuming so because it was the only chess tournament in PEI that weekend. I assumed that he was going to be driving from Halifax to Summerside. Using that assumption, but also using the assumption that he posted the photo on Twitter around the same time that he took it. We can assume that this road...
One funny thing that I want to point out here that Rainbolt was unaware of, by the way, is that, and a lot of people actually on Twitter did, and even like all the random chess sites got wrong, is they seem to be unaware that there actually was a tournament in Vancouver that weekend. So when I posted the picture about Vancouver, that was intentionally sort of like a red herring, where like I wanted some people to think that I might be playing the tournament in Vancouver that weekend. Which is why I then posted this picture like 8 hours later. Because when I posted the picture in Vancouver, what I expected to happen was when I posted the picture in Vancouver, I expected people like, oh, Hikaru's in Vancouver to play the British Columbia Open tournament. Because there was a tournament in Langley, British Columbia that weekend. So I was hoping for like 7 hours, people would think that I was playing in Vancouver. Unfortunately, it seemed like nobody actually looked it up and saw there was a tournament there. But, you know, that was actually the purpose. And then when I saw like no one getting it, I was like, okay, I'm just going to post this picture as well. The PEI picture gave it away. Sure, but when I posted the picture in Vancouver, the whole point was I expected people to see me in Vancouver at the airport and be like, oh man, he's playing in the British Columbia Open in Langley. And then nobody got it. Nobody understood the reason I posted the picture. There were 3 tournaments in Canada that weekend. There was a tournament in Vancouver. There was a tournament in Toronto. And there was a tournament in Prince Edward Island. But nobody seemed to get it. So like it was very disappointing when I post a picture of Vancouver and then nobody's like, oh, he's in Vancouver to play this tournament. So that's why I posted this like 7 or 8 hours later. But let's keep going.
Road right here is going north-south based off the shadows. So
Yep.
if we look at the shadows here, I'll get to explaining all this here. We can see that there is, using the yellow lines here, we can see that there is actually shadows coming from the bushes right here. And there is not a shadow being presented from the telephone pole, which means that the sun is coming from behind where Hikaru took the photo, just like slightly to the left, which means that that road would be going north-south that Hikaru is driving on. And you can see here that the red and the blue lines here are marking the clouds and contrails. I'm just kidding. Bad joke. The contrail here in the clouds in the back. And obviously if we knew that he was driving from Halifax to Summerside, he probably wouldn't be going off-route too much. But using the cloud map on that same day, we can actually confirm that it would be in this orange box right here based off the cloud patterns to the north.
Now, you know what I'm going to say, you guys? This is a little bit beyond GeoGuessr, what he's doing, obviously. but I'm kind of disturbed by this because this actually turns me into a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. So it's like when I see this stuff and I see what he's doing, it's just a normal person. I start to think about stuff like the, you know, what the NSA does, or NORAD, or any other sort of stuff, and it makes me a conspiracy theorist because then I start to think about like airplanes that randomly vanish that we never heard about, and it's been many years later, and I'm like, I start to think to myself, if this is a random dude doing this, like how on earth do we lose planes in the sky and everything else? Like how is it possible? Because he's not in the NSA, he's obviously not in the FBI or the CIA. And it's like it makes me like wonder about other things. It just makes me wonder about a lot of other things. But let's keep going.
Because these are the contrails right there that you can see in the photo right here. So confirming that he would be somewhere, taking the photo somewhere in this orange box right here, and meaning that he didn't make some sort of weird detour to the east of PEI where the clouds clearly do not line up at all.
Yeah.
This is just to confirm 100% that he would be somewhere in this box. So,
okay.
This video is sponsored by Axel, and they actually challenged me to find the location of this photo, and it was quite easy. I'll tell you exactly how I found it.
Oh, is it an ad?
You don't know what Axel is.
It's an ad. Okay, let's skip ahead.
Skip ahead. This video. Let's get back into it. Because you could have a thought that some of the dirt roads, maybe more north on the way to PEI, could have some like red soil if he was driving up north, but it does confirm that it was in PEI,
right,
in that orange box. And so then from there, it's a pretty easy find, because what we can do is we can make an overpass turbo query to only show us poles, which is the red dot here, and dirt roads, which is the blue lines here. Overpass turbo uses OpenStreetMap data, which always isn't, you guys have probably heard me talk about this a lot, always isn't 100% complete data, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Fortunately, in this case, it was enough data to be able to find this. And so if he's driving north, under my assumption, to get to Summerside from Halifax, like I said, that could be a wrong assumption, but it does line up. And we do know that the road is going slightly north-south. We can zoom in here, and we can see that there is a gravel road, dirt road right here. And on the east side, there is also telephone poles mapped here.
Okay.
And if we open up Street View here, we can actually zoom in. And the whole road doesn't actually have Street View coverage, but we can look at the... on satellite, you can see it does turn dirt right here. But the paved section right here does have coverage. And we can see that the telephone poles actually do line up to the exact road right here on PEI.
For anybody who just tuned in, by the way, this is based on a picture I posted on Twitter and Rainbolt trying to figure out the exact location.
That Hikaru was taking this photo right here off this dirt road path on Prince Edward Island, matching the telephone poles 1-to-1 from a distance here. Also, whenever this was found, which was a couple weeks ago at this point, the next obvious question is, why was Hikaru going off-road right here to get to Summerside from wherever?
Yes.
That was because this road, at least at the time that he took the photo, was actually under construction.
Yes,
and
correct.
So it looked like there was a roadblock.
Correct.
You can actually kind of see.
He's correct. Google. There was construction, and Google Maps told us to go off road. So he's correct. Like there was no reason to go off road. Like we should have been going on the paved road, but there was construction, and Google Maps told us to go off road. That is 100% correct.
Still in this review image here, there is some construction still going on, but at the time of the post, there actually was a roadblock on Google Maps at this point that showed up here that showed that this road was not accessible, meaning he probably had to take a detour, go up here north, and then go west from there to get to the Summerside tournament.
Yes, that is correct.
Grok doing all of that? No, but someone had to. Maybe next time, Grok.
That was a good one. I like that. That's a good that was a good video. I enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun, actually. That was really good. Well done. I am disappointed. I mean, overall, like obviously went out of his way to do research, but it does say a lot. Like when it does say a lot here that Grok literally said a road that was paved. Like to me, that's kind of a sign of how far AI is from being where everybody wants it to be. Let's just put it that way, or all the hype around it. That's what I would say. That's my view, but still good job. It was obviously well done by him. I am curious again, like the only questions I have about this video are very specifically when he says that it's mode on both sides. That's what I'm curious about. I don't understand like why that's something special, or that should be, maybe the common knowledge is the wrong word, but why, like for example, you should know, like for example, why would the roads be mode on both sides in Prince Edward Island versus say, I don't know, in like in Saskatchewan, for example, or if you're in rural, you're outside of the city in Edmonton in Canada. Like, why is this like, why does that is specifically something to Prince Edward Island, or is it just that it's a combination of it has to be Canada and then it's like something like that? That's my only real question about it. Is specifically about like why the grass being mowed on both sides. That's my only main question. The only other question that I'd be curious about in this video is when he talks about the cloud. Where was it? It was right back here, right? This one was when he talks about the cloud stuff. How exactly was he able to get this? Because I assume he did not get this the day afterwards, right? Like this image, surely at the time he probably wasn't paying attention to it. So is this like something? Is this like publicly accessible data? Like you can see like the clouds and everything else. I have played GeoGuessr. Yeah, I mean I'm not great at moving the mouse all over, and I don't have a good understanding of like the sun in the sky, or like what specifically you're looking for. But like my general instincts are pretty good. Like I generally know what part of the world something's in, unless of course it's like South Africa, or it's like Africa's always a problem, and it's like South America versus like Spain or Italy. But these were the two questions. The first one was about the mowed grass, and this is the second one. I don't think there was anything else that I saw in here that really took me by huge surprise. Actually, I thought the thing at the very end with the where he talks about the road being closed. I'm curious how he's able to access that data. That's what it is, published by the ISS. Okay. International Space Station publishes it. Okay. But this actually was the other thing. Like, if I play it one more time,
still going on, but
if I go back
at the time he took the photo, it was actually under construction.
Right.
And so it looked like there was a roadblock that we can actually kind of see still in this review image here. There is some construction still going on, but at the time of the post, there actually was a roadblock on Google Maps at this point that showed up here that showed that this road was not accessible.
Yeah, but see, like, how did he? That's actually the only other question. How did he know? Because this is obviously after the fact. He didn't look at that exact moment. How does he know that Google showed a roadblock at the time? Like, I didn't think like, if you obviously I'm a noob, I know nothing, but like I feel like if I go to Google Maps now, there's at least as far as I know, there's no way to go and see data from like 3 weeks ago or something. So that was the only last little bit, but overall, of course, a great video. Obviously, he's completely right about it. And I love that trip. It was a really, really fun trip. It was really fun seeing a lot of locals, people who play chess very casually, who will frankly never have the chance to see professional chess players, because professional chess players will never show up at tournaments that are small like that. So yeah, so overall pretty good. The last point I want to make before we move on, also someone asked an important question. I said, will you still keep posting pictures? When I posted this picture, it was somewhat on purpose at that point. I would say in general, when I do post pictures online, I don't post it within like 10 minutes. So like if I go out, and I go on a hike, for example, or something, I will not post that picture until it's usually like an hour or 2 hours later, because I know people can probably figure it out, and by then I'm long gone. So I still, of course, will post pictures, but like if I'm at a restaurant or if I'm like out in the hills somewhere or something along those lines, probably I'm not going to be posting it within an hour of when I was there. He is right. Yes, he is correct about the road. 100% correct. So anyway, that was a fun video. I enjoyed that. It was great to see Rainbolt covering it. This is all good stuff.